It's like this little dirty little bass line.
I don't fucking care. Can we move on to a new segment, please?
Welcome to Just Two Fans, a sports show about sports,
Obviously.
about life,
Because sports are life.
and about just whatever the hell we feel like talking about. So, let's go.
Is up, everybody.
What's good?
I'm Jay Freelander, and that is Cameron Hunting.
What's going on?
This is the Just Two Fans podcast with special guest host, super producer, Cam. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. We are twinning today.
We are. We didn't even plan it, but we're both too stubborn to worry about changing.
We even have we have an Oregon hoodie on, the same Oregon hoodie.
Yep.
For those listening to the podcast. And we both have baseball themed hats on.
Yeah, it
It's
was
pretty remarkable.
yeah, just a happy little coincidence that we host it and we wear the same things. Yeah, I hopped on the video call and boop, there it was. Like just the first thing. Like, oh look. Sports. We can do it. But it's pretty much like if we had merch or something, just wearing the same merch shirt.
Yeah.
At this point, Oregon merch is our identity.
That's fair.
And, I don't wear the sweatshirt enough. So why not?
And it's like getting to summer. Got to wear the sweatshirts while we can.
Yeah, well, it's not summer today. It was cold as a mother today.
Wasn't that cold.
It is 22 degrees when I walked out of my house this morning. It was 60
That's still
last week.
it's been a pretty mild winter for the most part.
Yeah, we've only had a few days that have been bad in a row. Last winter was pretty bad. We had like 3 straight weeks.
Yeah, last winter was rough.
So we got lucky this year.
Uh-huh. And it's going to be back up to like 60 by Thursday. It's fine.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
Welcome to Colorado.
Yep.
All right. Eli is in Puerto Rico or somewhere.
Costa Rica.
With a lot
You're
of
close.
stuff. Sure. Same thing.
When I was
Not
6,
really,
I confused them both too. So
Yeah. I honestly just couldn't remember where he went. I just know it's somewhere sunny and warmer than here.
and it was 2 words.
Yeah. So I was close.
Yeah.
A for effort.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You know how I know it's starting to be spring? Allergies are kicking in. Drive me nuts.
Yep. Get that late winter gunk.
Oh, dude, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to catch up on. There's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, there's definitely some major stories out there.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
It's not college football time. We don't have the thing that takes up most of the time on this show, but there's still plenty to talk about. It is spring, which means baseball is right around the corner, which we've got the theme going on. I have found it very difficult to be getting jazzed about baseball. And I think most of that has to do with the local team here being absolute dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even thought about opening week, opening day, opening 6 months. I don't care. Like, it's just not on my radar. It's not something I'm really looking forward to. And, I will say it, and I'll say it for you. The fact that they're having a Cornhusker night just kind of grinds my gears.
They've
got some burnt
done that
cookies.
for a decade, though.
Yeah,
It's
but now they have the
freaking
coolest
ridiculous.
hats that they've ever had for the giveaway, and they included the Cornhuskers. Like, they could have gotten the weird dad hats, and I would have been okay. But the bucket hats with the red and white Rockies logo.
I legitimately don't understand this. And for those listening that don't know, the Rockies have college-themed nights, which is very common in the world of baseball, to have different theme nights and everything to sell tickets. You have a 182 game season. You got to keep fans coming somehow, especially when your team's as bad as the Rockies. It would make sense that your professional sports team has college theme nights for teams in this state in which they reside.
Yep.
Colorado, Colorado State, Air Force. You could throw DU in there
Yeah.
if you really want to be frisky.
I mean, they're just down the road. They're closer than the other three.
Colorado College. There's Colorado Mesa University. There's CSU Pueblo. There's all kinds of schools.
Yeah.
But no, what do? They do Colorado, Colorado State, and Nebraska, the fucking bitter rival of your in-state school. What the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, that's been a rival longer than they've been a team. Much longer.
Literally.
And it's
don't-
the coolest hat. Like the CU one is awesome. The Rockies logo, it's black and gold, and then under the brim, it's just the CU logo, and it looks sweet. The other sticking point too is that tickets for that start at like $70. Nope. Like, no, it's rock pile or bust this year. I don't care how cool the hat is. I'll pick it up on Facebook Marketplace in 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem with the Rockies, right? They're going to sell tickets.
Oh, they always do. That's why they still have a team.
However, that's why they won't sell the team.
Well, yeah.
However, I think last year it started to wane. Last year was the first time in a long time that I've seen attendance dramatically drop off at Coors Field.
Yeah.
And so here's my 2 cents on the Rockies before we jump into the biggest news in the baseball world this week. I'm actually convincing myself to be excited about this team, and here's why. For the first time, maybe ever, or at least in my memory, since Todd and the Toddlers back in the mid-2000s, they are embracing a rebuild.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that. Now, do I think this team's going to come out and do what the Rockies did in 2007? Not a fucking chance in the world. Are there exciting players on this roster? Yes. They just signed Ezequiel Tovar to a 7-year extension.
Mm-hmm.
He is a legitimate potential superstar shortstop, which I don't know what it is. Like, the Rockies are terrible at development except for shortstops.
Yeah. They had that in spades, and they have for years.
They had Tulo. They went straight to Trevor Story, and now they've gone straight to Ezequiel Tovar off that. It's pretty remarkable what they can do at that position, which is a tough position to develop. So I don't really get that. You know, they have Elias Diaz, the catcher, All-Star Game MVP last year, right? Nothing to sneeze at. Bretton Doyle in the outfield, one of the best defensive outfielders out there. Nolan Jones, power hitter, young, super young in the outfield. Ryan McMahon still at third base. I've always liked Ryan McMahon. No issues there.
Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers coming back at second base off of his shoulder surgery, right? Like, there's guys on this roster I really like. Charlie Blackmon's still there. He's getting old. I don't think you're going to get a lot out of him. Chris Bryant playing first base. He's going to play like 2 games before he breaks in half, and then he's gone for the season. So it doesn't matter there. The starting rotation is fucking atrociously bad. So, like, again, not expecting a lot of wins, but if you're watching this like you like to watch Formula One races, where it's like, yeah, I know it's not really a race at the top, but there's some cool storylines down in the midfield.
Yeah, true. True.
Like, there are things to watch in this team and the future of this team that are intriguing. The product on the field largely is going to suck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
The wins are going to be terrible. The games are like they're going to give up a bajillion runs. The ERA on every single starter on this team had an ERA over 5 last year. That is so bad.
See, I don't know a lot about baseball. I know that number is supposed to be small.
This number is supposed to be like sub 2 is where you're really ideally living. That's pretty low this day and age, but over 4 is bad. Over 5 is like, holy shit, you probably shouldn't be a pitcher anymore.
Yeah.
Yep, and they're all over 5. So, you know, I guess if you're going to Coors Field and you don't care who wins and you just want to see a lot of offense, you're going to see it.
I mean, you know, grab that $20 rock pile, get $9 worth of beer on the ticket, and give
we can get tickets for free.
Yeah, but you know, for the listener, the one that's in Denver statistically.
Yeah.
You know, go down there and make sure the Monforts still have a cash cow.
Yeah, I mean, that's the shitty part, right? Like, part of me wants to, like, so the Rockies now have a streaming service, or it's the MLB streaming service with a Rockies plan.
Yeah.
Because their network went down. Part of me wants to pay for it because I actually do want to see some of these storylines that I'm talking about. The other part of me is like, I don't want to support this fucking dickbag of an owner, pun intended, by the way, and stick it to him. But he's
for everyone out of the loop, his name's Dick.
His name's Dick.
His name's Dick.
Most fitting name ever. But like, he's not going to sell the team.
No, he has no need to.
So I need to just give up that hope and a prayer and understand that I'm going to hate the owner of the Rockies for eternity and just suck it up and deal with it like every other fan of a team with a shitty owner, which there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's not a unique situation that Rockies fans are in.
No, especially in baseball.
No, yeah. And
it could be worse, too. We could be the A's.
Oof. We could be the A's.
Right.
But
so
I think, and you brought up a good point because I was excited. Like my kind of, you know, nonchalance or whatever, blah attitude towards baseball. I was happy that they got some sort of streaming service. Like they got a way to watch games more than you've actually had availability to watch games in the past.
Which is
like even
insanity.
when they were on TV. So that was huge. And it's just like, all right, you know, like you said, maybe there's just some more going on. You can watch the development and be happy about the things that are positive in the team, and you can watch. So we'll just have to kind of see. Maybe we can just do some password sharing like old school Netflix. And
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a baseball fan, right? I grew up playing baseball. I love baseball. What's happened to the sport, what's happening to the sport, what they're doing to the sport, I don't love it, but I still enjoy watching baseball.
Yeah.
It's kind of like golf. Do I like what's happening in the world of golf right now? Not even a fucking ounce. But you bet your ass I'm going to be glued to the TV during the Masters in 2 weeks.
9 a.m. when they started the pre-round coverage of the players on Thursday. I had it on. So
all 3 TVs. It was up and running.
Oh, there's 6 different streams. I got them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. It'll just be kind of one of those things that we watch and take from it what we can, and maybe.
I mean, here you can go one of 2 ways when your team is dog shit, right? You can watch and look for the silver lining, or you can just not watch. There's going to be a lot of casual fans that just don't watch. I just don't think I'm casual enough to do that. Like I can sit here and say it all I want, but come opening day, I'm going to sign up for the fucking streaming service and I'm going to watch them.
You know, there's something nice about like, especially on days like you work from home, like the 1 p.m. day game on like a Thursday, and you're just like, yeah, okay, I'll put that on.
That's the thing. Like, it's not going to be like I'm invested in the, but
you're not getting your stat tracker board out and
yeah, I'm not keeping score at home, right? Like I'm not writing in my scorebook. It's not happening. But Am I going to have it on the side while I'm watching shows with my wife or a movie or whatever? Yeah, I
Yeah.
am,
Yeah, I hear
because
you.
I want to watch it.
I
So,
get it. So,
uh,
other than the
maybe
Rockies, what else
maybe
is?
maybe it'll change when they're fucking 0-20 to start the season and shooting for the worst record in the history of the sport.
Yeah, you might hesitate to put that game on. Went out a week 4, they're over.
Yeah,
So,
we'll
what else
see.
is new in baseball? Because you definitely keep track.
Shohei Ohtani
Oh, I heard this.
is in some shit.
No, that's not what I heard.
Um, Shohei Ohtani is trying very hard to not be in some shit. How's that?
No, I heard he didn't do it.
Yeah. For those who haven't heard, Shohei Ohtani, the biggest worldwide superstar in baseball, two-way player. Again, for those who don't know anything about baseball, he's a two-way player, which means he is a pitcher and a fielder and a hitter, and he does all of them extremely well, which is unbelievably rare this day and age in baseball.
Yep.
And by rare, I mean we haven't seen the likes of Shohei Ohtani in like half a century.
Yep.
He just signed a huge deal with the Dodgers. That was the huge story a few weeks ago. And then last week, there started to be murmurs about some gambling problems.
Uh-oh.
And gambling and baseball have a very checkered past.
Yeah, there's some
Pete Rose.
stories when those two collide.
Just ask Pete Rose how gambling and baseball go together.
Yeah.
So when this all came out, it was kind of unclear what it was going to look like. And then the figures started coming out. And there's like, it's a $4.5 million debt that there was a wire transfer out of his bank account to a bookmaker. And then it started swirling that Ohtani was going to be blaming his childhood friend and translator on this. I don't know what to make of this whole fucking thing, man. Like, when I read this and hear what he said, I'm like, this is bullshit. There's no way.
Yeah,
First of all, why does your interpreter have access to your bank accounts? That's red flag number one. Red flag number two, how does your interpreter get $4.5 million in debt without you knowing about it? None of this adds up. So as much as I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, it's just way too fishy.
Yeah, now it's they're kind of taking the stance that dude stole it from him. Like, all of that money was stolen. They're working
So now
with
you're
like the
throwing
Department
your
of
childhood
Justice.
friend in jail,
Yeah,
because
and
that's embezzlement.
yeah, and $4.5 million. That's not 0 time in prison. That's a lot of time. And since they reported it, it's not like something you can't press charges. Like, nah, you're done. So like, does this dude hopping on the grenade so that Shohei doesn't lose all his money he's gonna make? I mean, yeah, it's wild. There's no realm that I think what, and let's be very clear, what Shohei Ohtani's new translator said Shohei said is what actually happened. There's too many wild things that have come out. I've seen, dude, this first came up like I was scrolling through TikTok, and I don't know how I got baseball TikTok because that's not me, and started getting through some videos, and someone's like, no, I think he sounds really sincere the way his translator said it. And
like sincerely they said that?
Yeah.
No way.
And it's come on. So I don't know, dude. But I don't think this isn't good for the face of baseball.
Baseball wants this to go away.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. Shohei Ohtani's the best thing that sport has going for it right now. And this is the last thing they need to deal with. But here we are. To me, they have two choices, right? First choice, unban Pete Rose and begin to backtrack on your stance on gambling.
Yep.
That's your first choice. Second choice, I guess just continue to deny, and hope the truth doesn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
Scary choice. And third choice is to crack down on Shohei. I don't see any other solution here.
Yeah, and because it doesn't this does not get swept under the rug now.
It can't.
You can't put this genie back in the bottle. I'm gonna use so many metaphors, and idioms, and that Shohei wouldn't understand. But yeah, I just don't think that this isn't going away, and this isn't going to end well. It's not one of those things that they can deny forever, and the Department of Justice and the IRS aren't going to figure out. That's not how this is going to happen. Unless, the interpreter just takes the rap for everything and goes to prison. Because if he truly, honestly, if he truly bet and had Shohei didn't know, it's theft and wire fraud. Because it wasn't his money.
And he needs to go to prison.
He needs to go to prison. And if he bet for Shohei and Shohei knew, then I think it would still be fraud, and baseball would have to ban Shohei.
So my question is, we still don't know what he bet on.
True.
Right? Pete Rose was banned because he was betting on baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's still a lot of sentiment out there that he was betting on his team to win. So what's really not good, right? I don't think I'm condoning that players ever bet on their sport ever.
Yeah.
But if you're going to bet on your sport, bet on your team to win, because that's what you're trying to do anyway. So it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, really. If you bet on your team money line, I think as far as betting on sports goes for athletes, that's still over the line because they're betting, but that's kind of the line. You're not betting on over-unders. You're not betting on, your team to lose and then tanking the game. It's, you're not taking a dive. So, on money line, you're I just believe in my team and I want to make a little extra money. But, I think it's if sports as a whole were to start allowing their players to bet on other sports, we would eventually get so many people betting on their own sport and their own team.
Oh.
You can't.
You want no part of this.
It has to be a ban. You can't loosen this.
Yeah, you're a professional athlete. You can't bet.
Yeah.
That's part of your burden of being very good at the sport that you play is you can't bet on it.
Yep.
It's kind of like you can't have insider trading. If you are a part of a company that's going to be a part of a merger, you can't just buy up a bunch of stock.
Nope, can't do that.
It's the same principle, right?
Unless you're in Congress and you make the laws and you benefit from it. But other than that, insider trading's bad.
What's fucking crazy is another story came out on Jonte Porter, in the NBA, the Toronto Raptors. I think he's a guard, forward. He's a forward. This investigation is that he was betting on his player prop, and he was betting the unders, and in the games that, there's tracking, the games that, I think it was DraftKings, the games that, the highest player prop that day was Jonte Porter's under, and he played, less than 3 minutes in all of those games. He went out with some sort of ailment or injury and didn't play anymore.
Yeah, that's sketch because a player, if they play over 2 minutes, the bet holds.
Right.
If they go out with less than 2 minutes of playing time, then it's a push. So that's a lot more sketch.
Yep.
You're betting on your under and you don't even play your reasonable amount of time that you would. That's not a good look. Not a good look.
So I don't
Yeah.
This shit just baffles me. Yeah. Dude, you guys won the fucking genetic lottery. All of you. fuck right off with ruining it by being a dipshit.
Yeah, the sympathy is very low.
Oh, it's non-existent.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
It's now the Ohtani one's a little more ambiguous, right? Like this one's, there's certainly a lot of smoke, right? So it's hard for me to believe that he's innocent, but there's a shadow of a doubt there. The Jonte Porter one's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You are an NBA basketball player and you're going to throw that away to earn a couple extra bucks by betting, and you're fixing the game. So you're just going to be viewed as a piece of shit for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
Shit drives me nuts, dude. Like, how do these guys just ruin that? Don't even get me started on all the shit that's going on with P. Diddy and all those guys, too. Fucking all these guys that seem to have it all, and they just fucking are dumb.
Just dummies. Plain old dummies.
Just give me like a fraction of their talent. That's all I want.
Could clean up in some men's league.
Unbelievable, dude. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, baseball's around the corner. I think the other reason that it's hard to get excited is this whole super team thing. I heard some talk show hosts talking about this, and they're talking about it. And one of the guys was like, you guys are saying all this, but baseball's had super teams forever. The Yankees have been a super team for 3 decades, and it's not like they win it every year. I mean, last year we had a Diamondbacks Rangers World Series.
Yeah, that is not something I would have called at the beginning of the season.
So somehow baseball, like, we view these super teams as a problem in baseball, and yet we seem to have more parity in that sport than most.
Mm-hmm.
It's remarkable. Because if you look at these teams on paper, the Dodgers should clean fucking house. Yeah. It should be the Dodgers, Braves, Yankees, and that is it. Other than that, nobody should even be coming fucking close. And if I was a betting man, I'm going to bet on those teams because I am a betting man. And those are the teams I would bet on. But there's no way in hell, even halfway through the season last year, you could have told me and convinced me that the Arizona Diamondbacks were going to be in the World Series.
Yeah, that's that wasn't who I picked.
So that's why I still love like, I can be as hopeless as I want, right? If you talked to me in August 2007 about how I felt about the Rockies, they were 1 game away from being eliminated, and then they won 21 straight games and happened to go to a World Series. Like, it's just one of the most incredible sports in that aspect, and that's why I'm never going to fully leave. As much as I hate ownership and think that they're stupid and whatever, because at the end of the day, it's a great sport that has they do a lot of shit wrong from top to bottom, but it's always fun when we get to October.
Yep. And I think the biggest thing that I love about baseball, and my takeaway, and as we close this out, is that any given day, any team will win. Like the stars will align, the lineups will be right, and the Rockies will win 2 out of 3 games away against the Dodgers in a series they should not have won one. And you go, oh, okay, see, they can do it every once in a while, and it's just exciting. Like I think that's what gets me to watch more often than not, is because they could win. Like,
right, if you have a dog shit football team.
Yep.
And all hope is lost 2 weeks in because you got no hope. There's not a lot there for you.
Yeah. I think there's that.
There's something to it. There's something to it.
Really quickly, I was looking and I wanted to see who the odds-on favorites were.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers.
Shocker.
And Astros.
Huh. Not the Yankees, huh?
The Astros weren't they were just the favorite, but they weren't very far ahead of anybody else. The next couple. So, and that was just through FanDuel, like way too early. If I put money on them today to win the divisions.
Who did they get?
So just thought that was kind of interesting.
That is interesting. I'm looking at their roster.
Yeah, I
Kyle Tucker, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't see any. There's rotation get better. I'm just trying to see
why.
I mean, I know why. It's a legit team, no doubt about it. I just don't see how on paper they're better than the Yankees. But what do I fucking know?
Yeah.
I haven't paid that much attention lately, so
yep.
I am definitely behind the 8 ball. But baseball's around the corner. Opening day is this week, so we do have that coming right up. Let's move on to the NFL. How can I be nice?
When you get news in the late March days about NFL, it's not going to be anything good.
Bad.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
I don't understand why a league that seemingly has it all is continuously trying to sabotage themselves.
Yeah. They're
What? Okay, for the listener, the NFL has added some more personal fouls to a sport that is already plagued with flags on every fucking play, it seems like. They this week they have decided to ban the quote hip drop tackle, which if you've ever watched football, if you're tackling somebody from the side or from behind, that is how you tackle them.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudes that won't get tackles if they can't hip drop.
If you are chasing down Travis Kelce, who outweighs you by 100 pounds, if you're a safety, you're just going to not be able to tackle him.
Yeah.
So your choice is going to be get a 15-yard penalty and a fine or give up a touchdown. Yeah. Those are going to be your options.
Yeah, you're going to have to jump on his back like a backpack and just let him carry you in.
What are we doing? Why is this? Who thought this was a good fucking idea? And all in the name of player safety? Player safety for who? Just the guys carrying the football? Because the guys on defense, I saw J.J. Watt talking about this on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah.
He was like, you guys are going to ban the hip drop tackle, which has maybe taken out 2 or 3 guys, but you're going to allow offensive linemen to dive at my knees on every play? Get fucked.
Yeah, they're fixing a non-issue. Overwhelmingly, that's not the biggest area where they could make player safety improvements.
If there's anything they need to do, they need to eliminate penalties. Why are we creating more?
Yeah, these games are going to take forever, and they're going to be garbo.
The problem is they're not, right? The NFL has got this down to a fucking science, man. These games take 2.5 hours on the fucking nose, all of them. Like, if you watch Red Zone on Sunday, it is a well-oiled fucking machine. They kick off at 11:05, all of them, and they all end between 2 and 2:30, right as the next games are kicking off, and then all of those games end right before Sunday Night Football pregame starts. It is a well-oiled fucking machine.
You remember the pandemonium that was Red Zone like 10 years ago? When you turn it on at like 11 for kickoff, and then you just had games that seemingly randomly started. Like one that started at the same time was a whole quarter behind.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, dude, I'm watching 18 games the whole time.
Yep. They have it down to a science.
Yeah.
And it is incredible. But if I'm just going to sit down and watch a single game, this shit sucks. If I'm going to, at what point do we look at this sport and say, it is inherently dangerous? You understand the risks. We are very clear about the risks. If you go out with a knee injury, sorry. with a normal tackle. Like this is we're not talking about malicious intent, right?
Yeah.
I fully understand trying to legislate out things like spearing and leading with the crown of the helmet.
Yeah.
I am all in. I fully understand that. Because if you are going in with the intent to injure somebody, that's a problem. This hip drop tackle is not that. What I hope with this, I hope this is like the roughing the passer, where they add this new legislation, they over-referee the shit out of it, get a bunch of flack, and then they just kind of walk it back a little bit to get it to where it's only the egregious stuff. But here's the problem. It's not egregious. That's how you tackle a guy from the side or from behind, especially if you're undersized.
Yeah.
Injuries fucking happen.
Yeah, this is a brutal sport, or started as one with the contact, and we're getting to the point where let's just play flag football.
Yeah, if you're going to put flags on them, just do it.
Yeah. There's a flag every play anyways. Might as well be when the play stops.
It's amazing. I mean, it's like, this would be like the MMA saying no headshots. You can punch each other, but not in the head.
Yep.
Fight. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
None of these guys, like, and I get it. We're trying to make up for hiding CTE and all the things that the NFL's in trouble for when it comes to head injuries. But making up for being way too lackadaisical on injuries in the past by over legislating is not the fucking answer. And it's going to, like, the NFL seems untouchable. At some point, nothing is untouchable. And if you keep going down this fucking path, you're going to lose people. It's not going to be a lot. You're going to have your core fans. NFL's still going to be king. I don't ever see it going away, but you are going to start losing people if there's going to be a flag on every fucking play that looks like, if you start saying a play that look like, this is what people are bitching about with the roughing the passer, right? It was like, that was a tackle. What are we doing?
Yeah. It got to the point
You
where
are
like,
changing the sport.
Yeah. You can't touch them anymore.
Right. And then you have quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes does this all the time. And friend of the show, one of our good friends, Bobby, fucking hates this. Quarterbacks run towards the sideline, know that they can't get touched, plant their foot in the ground and go another 15 yards upfield because all the defenders are letting up. Because if one toe touches the white out of bounds and they get hit, it's a flag.
Yep.
And likely a fine. It's so annoying because the game is so good. Why are we doing this? None of the players like this.
No, this is not. Yeah, this isn't a player driven. Like the NFLPA was just like, this is not what we recommended. So, well, and wasn't there another rule recent? Like they just passed it for kickoffs as well to limit hard hits or hits at speed or however they qualified it, and it's the XFL kickoff rules.
So I'm okay with this. I actually like the XFL kickoff.
I think it's going to be interesting. And so for those that don't know, the XFL started this kickoff rule in 2020, and essentially your kicker is still going to kick off from the 35, but the kicking team's going to line up on the receiving team's 40, and then the receiving team's going to be between the 30 and 35. So there's going to be at max 10 yards between the kicking team and the receiving team, and they'll just pop each other from there. And
they can't go until the receiving player catches the ball.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see, and I've watched it a couple times, the XFL, and it works for them. So I'm okay with that. I don't hate it. It's,
this one I get. Like, yeah. You're not like, is it going to look different and feel weird? Yeah, for a little bit. Are we inherently changing the nature of the sport?
No.
No. We're eliminating some guys fucking flying down the field and getting blindsided and knocked unconscious.
Yeah, we're eliminating the dudes that are closing 50 yards at speed with each other and then just blasting someone who can't
But
see them.
here's the thing, man. Like, what the NFL needs to do, I don't want to say stop caring, because that sounds harsh. But again, we are at a day and age where these guys know what the sport is. They know what they're signing up for. They can have informed discussions with their spouses or family or whoever to make a conscious decision to play this sport for the money that they make. And the reason it's as popular as it is can be debated, but partially it's because it's violent.
Yep.
People want to see big hits.
It's like the last.
People want to see the best athletes in the world hitting each other as hard as they can and trying to get in the end zone. That's what they want to see. And so what I don't want to see, and I like the violent stuff, like the hits that make me cringe. Like, I don't necessarily love that about football. I'm a total weirdo, and I love the strategic part of sports, because baseball, football, all of it. Now, do I like the big hits and the exciting plays? Of course I do. I'm a fucking human. But I don't necessarily show up for the violence, but that is why the sport is as popular as it is. You're seeing the best athletes do stuff that us mere mortals can't do.
Yep. You get to live vicariously, and like Helmet said, it's Rome and the Gladiators, baby. It's the last gladiatorial sport
100%.
in a big arena with, 50,000 other people.
100%. The what I'm not there for is a dude wearing some zebra stripes throwing a yellow hanky on the field. Not there for that.
Yeah, and refs have shown that they'll make the game about them.
Luckily, in the NFL, they're just following the stupid fucking rules that are being in place. The NBA, don't even get me started on NBA fucking officials. Those guys are the most egotistical pricks other than home plate umps in baseball.
Dude.
It's not about you, you fucks. Nobody is here to watch you. Not a single person.
Bro, they would have went pro if they didn't blow their knee out in high school.
Stay in your goddamn lane. Please, for the love of God. Nobody cares if your feelings are hurt because a player threw their arms up at you. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's not about you. But anyway, NFL... they're just treading a tough line, right? And people are like, the NFL's untouchable. The NFL's untouchable. Keep doing some shit like this, and we will find out how untouchable it is. It helps if they can keep bringing in Taylor Swift and bring in fans that want nothing to do with the sport but are there for the entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they keep creating these storylines outside and they boost them up, then they'll be fine.
I mean, the other thing is like I can sit here and say this all day because this is my get off my lawn moment, and I hate the changes. But what else are we going to go to? Hockey is like actually my answer because I fucking love hockey. But during football season, am I going to not watch football? Hell no, I'm not. Like,
nope.
They know it too. So, it's stupid. Anyway, that's the NFL changes. We have the draft coming up in a couple weeks. There is increasing chatter about one bodacious Knicks coming to Denver, and that just makes me excited.
I mean, if Denver specifically wants me to watch their team, you got to draft Bo. Like, if I'm the target, not just the one target, draft Bo, and I'm in, baby. Every game.
Here's the thing. I love the NFL draft because I'm a giant nerd. The last 2 years have kind of sucked just because the Broncos made the worst trade in NFL history and didn't have a first round pick. Now they have a good first round pick with the potential to pick the quarterback from my favorite college football team. So draft night is going to be on one for me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pregame by watching Kevin Costner in Draft Day and be like, I feel like this is how they're gonna get Bo.
That movie, oh my God, thank you for saying that. If there's that movie, if it's on, I am watching it every fucking time.
I don't care how far we are into it. If we're an hour in, that's the draft, baby. I'm getting into that part.
And if a TikTok comes up and it's that scene of him just raking the Seahawks GM over the coals, I'm fucking watching it because it is magical.
And you know what I'm also doing?
I don't care how unrealistic it is. That is how I imagine every single fucking war room going on draft night.
And if I see that TikTok, I'm going to the account to see if they have the rest of the scene.
Yep.
I'm going to go see.
The whole
thing. Just watch it. I'm going to go, do we have more? Do we have more?
And then I'm going to watch it like 4 times because it's just so good.
It is. It really is. And, the other side, of the draft and hopefully getting Bo is, like I said, Broncos want me to watch from my couch, draft Bo. Broncos want me to show up to the Chargers game. Give me 2 Oregon quarterbacks, baby.
Oh my God.
I'll be at the game.
I'll be wearing a split jersey.
Bro, I'll make a split Herbert Bo Nix Ducks jersey.
Herbix?
Herbix.
Is that what? I'll have a Herbix jersey.
I was going to say Bobert, but I don't think we do that.
They have the same name. No Bobert, especially in this state. Nope, fuck that.
I was like, no, Bobert. Nope, not that.
Nope.
Can't do that.
Man, they both wore 10 too. Like that would just be, you just need the name. You just need to get a nameplate.
I'll just buy the custom 10 jersey from Nike.
Say Herbix.
Nerbert. Nibbert. Nixert. That sounds like an anti-inflammation drug. Take Nixert.
I think you almost need to like put just a slash, just do Nick/Herbert.
Probably.
Anyway, draft night's gonna be awesome. It always is. Like, here's the thing, man. I can sit here and bitch about the rules all I want. The NFL draft is more fucking viewed than most other sporting events in the U.S.
Yeah.
It is king, and they fucking know it. And I can sit here and get off my lawn grumpy old man about the changes they're making, but that's not going to fucking change no matter how much I whine about it.
Yep.
So, whatever. It is what it is. I'm still going to whine because that's what we do here on the show. It's what we're here for. Now, best sport in the world that is also fucking itself over. College football. I don't even know where to start, my guy.
Absolute dumpster fire.
I just have so many takes about this sport, and we've gone down this rabbit hole so many times that I don't want to rehash it. But like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Why are we doing? I know why. This is, again, I know, like, I get it. It's all about money. 100 million %. I know why. It's just dumb. We're taking the greatest thing ever and we are just throwing it in the trash can. Okay. I'm going to collect myself. I have come to terms with conference realignment. I don't like it. But I have come to accept that Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA are in the Big Ten, no matter how wrong that feels.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, if I'm going to look at a bright side of realignment, Colorado is back where it belongs in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the only glimmer of good stuff coming from this. The ACC is going to be the next conference to fall. We have witnessed in the last 12 months the complete destruction of the Pac-12, and the ACC is next because Miami, Florida State. Well, Florida State started this whole thing with exploring a lawsuit to get out of their exit fee, which is absurd in the ACC. And now Clemson has joined and has actually filed a lawsuit against the ACC to get out of their exit clause from that conference. If those two schools leave, the ACC is toast. It's like USC and UCLA leaving. It's done for. The dominoes fall from there, and you're going to be left with like Wake Forest and Louisville picking up the dust. Like, that's it. Where is this going to end up? I don't know. There's a lot of scenarios out there that I think make a lot of sense. Ultimately, what needs to happen, this is what I think needs to happen. And then I'll let you chime in. What ultimately needs to happen is football, college football needs to break away completely from the NCAA and let the rest of the sports operate under the NCAA in the old conferences the way it should fucking be. Because gymnastics, baseball, softball, twirling, acrobatics, all these different sports that exist and are awesome in their own right, but the non-revenue sports should not, cannot, and will not, shouldn't be traveling across the fucking country to compete.
I agree.
There's just no way.
That's
those sports
ridiculous.
have to be regional.
Yeah.
There's just no two ways about it. College football is bigger than that. And with the NIL and the money that's being thrown around in it with no legislation, it needs to break away, operate as a semi-pro league, essentially. I don't even know if they, like, at this point, should they even go to school? I don't know. I don't know what this, they do still have to go to school. 99% of that roster is not going pro.
Yeah.
But they play once a week. So they can travel, and they play on Saturdays. You can travel Friday. Like, that is so doable with a college schedule that I don't see a problem with it. And you can separate it into two super conferences with a North and a South, and then you have divisions, and they can look ultimately like what the best version of college football alignment looked like, which was 2007. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Is it going to happen that way?
No.
Absolutely not, because that's what should happen, and what should happen almost never fucking happens.
Especially when you add the NCAA into the mix. Then I'll let it go.
ACC is crumbling. Cal and Stanford, all of a sudden, just in shambles. Dude, they are getting paid nothing to be in that conference for the next 5 years. And then it's not going to exist. And all of a sudden, we have two historic schools and great programs, other than, like, football is not great right now, but the Olympic sports, those are fucking incredible schools.
Yep.
That are going to be left without a conference.
Yeah, they're looking back and going, I should backslide to the back.
Washington State.
Yeah, dude.
Oregon State.
They're going to backslide.
Now, I texted you guys last week when this was all going down, and I said all of a sudden Washington State and Oregon State are in a better position than Stanford and Cal.
Oh, boy, are they.
They are. However, they're in a less good position than they have liked to tout over the last couple months. Because while they won the lawsuit to take control of all of the Pac-12 revenue, they forgot this little fact that they were always going to settle with the 10 teams leaving in terms of revenue sharing from this past season. So it just came out was it today? It was yesterday. Came out yesterday that Oregon State and Washington State have finalized a settlement over financial distributions with the 10 schools leaving the Pac-12. The departing schools will have $5 million withheld during the 2024 fiscal year for a total of $50 million. The departing schools will also each pay a $1.5 million supplemental contribution to the conference. So what was $260 plus million is now $62 million.
Yeah, they really thought that they were gonna do something, and the other 10 teams, they won in the divorce. Let's be real, they won in the divorce,
and they are now free. Basically, for $6.5 million, they are free to go pursue their money elsewhere. For Colorado, for Arizona State, for Utah, that means $32.5 million a year in the Big 12.
Yep.
For Oregon and Washington, that means $30-ish million this year, with increasing by $1 million a year until 2030 when the new TV rights deal is signed in the Big Ten and they are full members.
I think I'm a little disappointed because it's not going to be Lockheed Martin presents the Arizona Wildcats, but
it still might, dude.
Sell the rights to that stadium, baby. Just do it.
$30 million does not erase the $250 million in debt that they are.
And they've definitely shown they can't do it with whatever money they get. So they might be good for like a season. This year they got to put a product on the field, and then their marketing team has to really go at it and start picking up some investors.
I mean, it doesn't help when your coach gets poached by a different team that is also departing the Pac-12, who had their coach poached by Alabama.
Dude, the Pac-12 is just eating itself.
I was looking at this. You know what? I texted Eli this. I don't think I texted the whole group. I don't know what I saw. I was at TikTok, and it was who's the account? Oh, it was CF Budge. Do you follow him? Mm-hmm. He's really good. He's a Beaver fan, but he tries to be as impartial as he can. He's definitely a Duck hater, but he tries. I'll give him
an
credit.
Effort's made.
He did a what if the Pac-12 didn't disappear next season? Who would win it? Oregon would fucking clean house in the Pac. Like, it wouldn't even be a competition next year.
No.
We're talking as dominant as we've seen. Like, who are the teams that were good last year, right? Washington, absolutely decimated by going pro or coach leaving or transfers. Decimated.
Oregon.
Right. Washington State. Oregon State, decimated and already dominated them.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford, dog shit. Cal, dog shit. Utah, dominated them. Colorado, USC, no clue who their quarterback is. UCLA, lost their head coach. Bad. Arizona, lost their head coach. Bad. Arizona State, still really bad. Like, that conference would be so fucking terrible. Like, legitimately, the two best teams in the conference might actually be Colorado and Oregon. Utah's still really fucking good, so I don't want to discredit that. It's probably Colorado and Oregon and Utah, and then Colorado right below that. But, like, Oregon would fucking walk to the playoff.
Dude, they would dog walk the conference.
Because they'd be undefeated. Like, so bad. But no, got to join the Big fucking 10. We got to play Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State and all these fucking schools.
I couldn't have one good year.
We just can't have it. We can't have nice things. We just cannot have fucking nice things.
And you know why? You know why? Because we made the 12-0 shirts before we played Auburn.
I loved that shirt, though.
I did too, but I don't know where it's at anymore, and I think it still haunts me.
You're right. That was bad.
That wasn't a smart move. Shouldn't have done 12-0.
You needed to not make that until it was 13-0.
Yep. You know, That happens. Michael Dwyer wasn't just down; he fumbles it.
Nobody that was even a part of the athletic department is even still there anymore from that. I cannot imagine that is still haunting us. We can't. Okay, here's the silver lining: 12-team playoff. Oregon is easily the top 2 in the Big Ten. Should have a clear path to a playoff berth. That's going to be my silver lining. It's not like we're joining the Big Ten in a 4-team playoff where if we lose to Ohio State, we're boned.
Yeah, and no one can, with a straight face, they will say this, no one can with a straight face say, oh, Oregon's just in the Big Ten. Like they have said about the Pac-12 for years.
Nope, can't say that.
Can't say it. Someone will.
Especially now. Especially now. Like you could say they were in the Big Ten West last year. You could, and that was legit because the Big Ten West sucked ass.
Not this year.
Not this year.
Mm-mm.
And here's the thing: the Big Ten is what the Pac-12 was. It's as top-heavy of it is Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and then everybody else. That's what the conference is.
Yep.
But it's the Big Ten, and the name matters. Just ask the SEC. They've been riding it for fucking 2 decades.
Yeah, ESPN's gotten on that train too.
I don't. Why? Like, on every level, we just can't have nice things. This sport should be so good. Just take me back to 2007. That's all I'm asking. It was so good. Look up 2007 NCAA conferences. NCAA football conferences. I'm going to run through this real quick because not only was that one of the best seasons in college football history with just so many stories, like that was peak college football, and you won't convince me otherwise. It was so fucking good. I'm going to pull this up. Okay. ACC was Boston College, Clemson, Wake Forest, Florida State, Maryland, NC State, Virginia Tech, Virginia, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Miami, Duke. That is perfect. Nothing changes there. That is geographically perfect. They're all on the Atlantic coast. What a fucking novel concept that is these days. And there were like the best team in that conference that year was Virginia Tech at 11-3. Like, how awesome is that? Boston College was second at also 11-3. So good. Big 12 was Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, Kansas State, Nebraska, Iowa State, Oklahoma, Texas, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, Baylor. Mwah.
Perfection.
Chef's fucking kiss.
Perfection.
The Big East was West Virginia, Connecticut, Cincinnati, South Florida, Rutgers, Louisville, Pittsburgh, Syracuse.
All of those teams work together.
Perfect. That is perfect. Don't change anything. West Virginia does not need to be in a Power 5 conference.
No, they can be
Cincinnati
over there.
Cincinnati does not need to be in a Power 5 conference.
No.
Leave them alone. Big
Limit
10.
the kids table.
Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, Penn State, Iowa, Purdue, Indiana, Michigan State, Northwestern, Minnesota. Oh, it's perfect. It is perfect. Pac-10, USC, Arizona State, Oregon, UCLA, Arizona, Cal, Washington State, Stanford, Washington. Don't mess with perfection.
No.
Don't do it. SEC, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, LSU, Auburn, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Alabama, Ole Miss.
Oh, so good.
It's perfect.
So good.
Just bring me back to that, please, for the love of fucking God. It's not going to happen ever, but that is perfect. Everything about what I just said is picture perfect. Even the Mountain West, BYU, Air Force, New Mexico, Utah, TCU, San Diego State, Wyoming, Colorado State, UNLV. Utah's the only team in here as far as I can tell, that is out of place today.
Yeah, with
Because they're
today's
the team.
performances.
They're the team that has done the most consistently since they've moved up to a Power 5 conference, as far as I can tell. That's the only, and if you're going to move, and BYU. So move BYU and Utah into the Big 12 or the Pac-10. You could move them legitimately into the BYU and Utah into the Pac-10, make it the Pac-12,
Yeah.
and you're good. That is perfect.
Yeah.
But no, we're never going to get it again because we can't have nice things. And they like to just fuck it all up for a few extra bucks. And by a few, I mean several million.
Like literally millions.
I don't know, man. Are you telling me right now that if they stayed together and those conferences worked together rather than separately, that they couldn't come together with the ultimate streaming deal, media rights package ever? The Power 5 conferences working as a unit rather than individually. College football has almost more media rights power than the NFL does. Maybe not. That might be a little too extreme, but
I don't know, dude. If they'd stayed that way, like if that was what the conferences looked like, they
work together rather than separately.
Yeah.
In the world of streaming and shit, like you could buy an NCAA package, you could buy the Pac-10 package, you could buy the Big 12 package, do whatever you want. Oh, it would be perfect.
Yep. Because they would have come together, they could have started their own service.
Yeah.
And then you just buy the package you want.
Easily. And they could have sold the rights to that streaming service to ESPN, Fox, CBS, anything. You know, do what the NFL did with Red Zone and Sunday Ticket.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're selling the rights still to CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, but you're allowing your fans to watch on whatever device, wherever, whenever they want.
Yep.
It's perfect.
Yeah, what could have been.
But there's no way any of them are going to go for that because the SEC is always going to say, we deserve more. The Big Ten's always going to say, we deserve more. Unfortunately, it started with the Pac-12 saying, we want more, or the Pac-10 at the time. And then being dumb enough to not allow in Texas and Oklahoma. Ugh.
Dude.
So many bad things.
Fumbled the bag, as the kids say.
Just so many bad things. But we're neither here nor there at that point. We got to live with what we got. Ultimately, the ACC, Big 12, and who am I forgetting? Pac-2 are going to have to figure out some way to either merge with the other two conferences and have two super conferences, or they're going to have to work together to do what I just said. Come with a streaming or media rights package together and try to stay afloat against the other two super conferences.
Yeah, I think that's their only way out. If Florida State and Clemson win.
So sad, dude. It just sucks. It just sucks. It just sucks. That's all there. There's no two ways about it.
Yep.
It sucks. Do you see any future where this sport ends up in something that we, the fans, are okay with? We know it's not going to be ideal, right? The ideal scenario is what I just laid out, and that is not going to happen. But from my seat right now, this is just going to keep unraveling until it's something unrecognizable.
Yeah, I think there is a way. But realistically, for that to happen, the NCAA has to go hands off. They have to create a self-governing body that can, and realistically, keep the Power Five in check and kind of just rule themselves. The biggest thing that gets left behind with stuff like that is the upside and the positive things that some of these big deals do for the smaller schools. Is like, we pay these small schools to come in. Like, that's how they get their operating budget for the football team. Is by doing 3 of these, preseason games with Power 5 schools. And I think that there has to be a way that still exists, or the spirit of college football dies and it just becomes semi-pro NFL.
I think the chances of it getting to the level of semi-pro are pretty slim. And that's because I think there's enough people out there in the positions of power that, I want to tread lightly here, because they clearly don't care about the history or the sanctity of the sport. But I don't think they want to lose the spirit of the sport.
Yeah,
So I think at
you're
some
right.
point, what could happen, this is my hope, what could happen is there's enough people in positions of authority and power that recognize what is happening and can start to backtrack in ways that may mean a couple less dollars for their conference, but better for the overall game. That's the only real hope.
Yeah, I think some people are gonna have to take a hit to keep this in check, but it will be better overall for the sport.
Here's the thing. Maybe not. Maybe what needs to happen is ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC need to come together and be like, look, guys, here's the thing.
Yeah.
We can keep fighting each other with these 2 super conferences and just be going for the bottom line. This is not going to happen. This is all pie in the sky shit because it's all about money. But they could come together and be like, let's approach all of these conferences with a deal like we have with the NFL and get this thing back to where it needs to be. With all these different conferences, we're on the right track with the playoff, right? And we haven't even talked about moving to a 14 team, and we're not going to dig into that today. But we're on track with the playoff. Like, the networks are getting what they want. ESPN specifically is getting what they want with the expanded playoff. But that is perfect with a Power 5, real actual 5 power conferences, the way that I just outlined them, and a group of 5. You got 12 teams. If you got 5 auto bids and then the rest are up in the air, you're going to get what you want. And you already have it outlined geographically, historically. It is on the money. So what you have to just come together as a group and understand that. And there's going to be some people left out of the mix. Yeah. There's just no 2 ways about it. Every conference needs 12 to 14 teams. That is it. And if you don't make the cut, whether that is size of the school or number of athletic programs, whatever it is that they make the cutoff, if you don't make the cutoff, sorry, you're not in. Cincinnati, probably not in. Who else did I mention there earlier? West Virginia, probably not in. Utah, probably in. BYU, probably in. Notre Dame, join a goddamn conference. You're in.
Why don't we just adopt the European soccer model?
Relegation.
Just relegation and promotion, baby.
I mean, I'm in.
Just
group of 5. This gives group of 5s, like, back in the day, the model that I just said, if you're a really good group of 5 school, Boise State in 2007, for example, speaking of, you're going to get promoted. Stanford, if you're dog shit for 3 years in a row, see you later.
You're gone. Better luck next year.
Just in football.
Yeah.
Right? You can stay in like football just has to operate on a different level than the rest of the sports. You could probably do this in basketball too, to be honest, but
Yeah.
it's less critical because you have a 64 team playoff. So
Yeah, you've already got a playoff
conferences
that
don't matter.
fixes it.
Right. Conferences don't matter nearly as much in basketball. We could talk about this round and round forever. Ultimately, what we are going to have to do is what I have to do in baseball. I just have to look at the positives, understand that shit's changing in ways that I don't like, and hope that it doesn't just all totally blow up in our face. But all of that being said, I am stoked for Oregon being in the Big Ten. I am stoked for the new matchups that it's going to bring. I'm stoked for Colorado being back in the Big 12. There are positives. I don't want to be all Debbie Downer.
No, I think that
and college football is still college football.
yeah, with everything going on, we the two teams that we watch, we have some great upside. So everything that's behind the scenes, I can just shut off for a few months, watch my two teams in some very, very winnable conferences with the teams that they have and the product they're going to put on the field, and just enjoy it.
Here's the thing, man. Like, Colorado shouldn't be in the SEC. Colorado probably shouldn't be in the Big Ten, and that's okay.
Yep.
Especially now in the expanded playoff model, because they're where they should be, and they probably, arguably, have an easier path.
Yeah.
Or a path that fits them better. So I'm all for it today. It's the future that and where this is headed that is real. Like, ultimately, that's what's terrifying. And like the move to the Big Ten, like softball having to travel on a Tuesday to Maryland to play a series. Like, what do we fucking do? What are we doing?
That's so dumb.
I feel so bad for those girls and those sports that have to do that. Like, that is just killer.
Yeah.
You're going to get a shitload of airline miles.
Yeah.
There's an upside, I guess.
I pray for that, the travel coordinator.
You're going to get like United 1K status real fast. Yeah, travel coordinator's going to be working overtime for
universities need to get as many of those cashback cards as they can, because that's how they're going to pay for those programs.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
We're going to be like lifetime million-mile members like that.
All right. That was way longer than I planned on talking about college football, but that's what happens on this show when that topic comes up, because it's what we're most passionate about. And I don't know, man. At this point, I just want football to start again, because then I can stop worrying about this shit.
Yeah.
I just want to play.
Yeah. I can talk about stuff that I actually, pay attention to, and I enjoy the side of it that I enjoy.
Yeah, the side of the scary doom and gloom, not fun. All right,
yeah.
Let's move on to Cameron's jam, which is quickly becoming my jam also.
Bro,
Formula One, baby.
If anything was gonna get you kind of like diving into it, it was this week's race, and I think it proved, and I'm really happy to announce Max can't win every race this season.
Oh my God.
Can't do it. You just can't do it.
Listener, we haven't talked since Formula One season started. I asked Cameron very sincerely.
Yeah,
after
like
the
no
second
joke.
race.
I was a little surprised.
Very sincerely.
How candid it was.
I was like, is Max going to win every race this season? And I wasn't being sarcastic. There was nothing. No sarcasm.
And he didn't believe me when I said no.
No, I didn't. I was like, I don't know, man. That thing's a fucking rocket ship, and he looks like he is unstoppable. Turns out, if your brakes don't disengage, you're pretty stoppable.
Yeah. He retired 5th lap, and is a brake failure that eventually exploded in the pit lane entrance because it just didn't disengage. And what's shocking is for the first 2 laps, how fast that car still was. Like now
How fast he was.
It looked like a more reasonable race. It looked like, the Red Bull of 2021, and like there was, other cars were keeping up because Carlos Sainz was right on his butt. But yeah, I genuinely, I was happy.
Dude, you were watching at my house.
I jumped up. I was clapped as soon as I saw that smoke. And, he was in the front, so no one threw a tear off. There was not a lot of debris. I was like, you got to retire it. Got to retire it. That's it. He's out. Here we go. We got a race.
And we did.
And I was right. And yeah, it was exciting. What I didn't want to see was what happened to both Mercedes cars. Neither finished. And, I love Lewis Hamilton. I don't think you can hate him. Like, genuinely hate him.
If
I know
you
there are
hate
people,
him,
like,
then there's
some things we should probably talk about, and you should talk about with your therapist.
That explains you.
Yeah. Like there's one reason, and it ain't a good one. But he as true Mercedes fashion the past couple of years with Lewis, just engine failure, and listening to it, the onboard, it just cut off, like full no power. Not even a grind, didn't throw a rod or whatever those cars have. My car has rods. It can throw them. It's just done. Just full burp, done.
Full stop.
Transmission didn't grind, like no power, nothing. And what was surprising is how far he actually got to glide when those cars shut off at 140. You can still go like half a lap. And that gave us our one legitimate or like real impacting safety or caution, and that gave us a virtual safety car.
Yep.
And it kind of closed it up a little bit, and that was at a good point in the race. 17 laps. I mean, this was going to be a 2-stop race no matter what. And I think everyone was reevaluating kind of their strategies when Max went out, because that's, if you've watched races and you've listened to the radio calls, no one has ever said, all right, yeah, you're racing Max. No, you're racing the person 2 people behind you, because that's your competition. Like, Mercedes were barely racing McLarens at times, and it all changed on lap 2, and then lap 17, Hamilton's out. It just sucks, but it's going to be how this season goes, especially now that he's leaving. Like, since he's going to Ferrari. Like, this season's going to be disappointing, and
no doubt.
He cannot wait to get out of there.
He can't be gone fast enough at this point.
And I think that, it sucks because, Toto said at the end of last year, this is a bad car. We're rebuilding from the ground up. Now they're definitely not doing that. Like,
not for him.
He's not getting upgrades. He's going to be back, lower middle. He's going to get out in Q2 a lot in qualifying. So it just, it sucks seeing it. But, the silver lining to that is we've only got 21 more races. And he's not going to finish all of them, but we get to see in a year him in Ferrari red.
I am so fucking excited
and him and
for
Charles
that.
On a team, it's going to be good.
Yeah, here's the thing, man. Like, I feel real bad for Carlos, especially with how he started this season.
Strong.
And he is showing out at a moment that he needs to as soon as possible. But I don't blame Ferrari an ounce for doing what they did. If you have a chance to have a driver lineup that is Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
End of discussion.
And
I don't care how much you love Carlos Sainz. I love Carlos Sainz. You don't pass up that opportunity.
Yeah, and even if you look back and you think about the fact that in the last 20 races, there have been 2 winners, and it's been Max and Carlos. Like, that is how important this driver lineup's going to be for Ferrari as they're making changes. Because this Ferrari we're seeing this year is not the Ferrari that didn't finish races in 2022.
Right.
So it's going to be an exciting team. I think Ferrari's going to get a couple more wins this year. With kind of what this means for Red Bull is they've had 2 really big issues. Sergio Perez is on his second transmission of the 3 he gets, 3 or 4, and Max's brakes exploded. So they're having outside of the off-track issues, they're having production and just support and reliability issues that, I mean, it's week 3 and Sergio's not looking fast. So by the summer break, I think it's going to look different than what a lot of people saw. Now Max is gonna win. He's gonna win the Drivers' Championship. Red Bull's probably gonna win the Constructors, but I don't think it's gonna be 19 wins.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
My big bet for Oscar for Lando to win the Drivers, it's not looking great, but it ain't looking bad. So
how many races are there? 24 this year?
Yeah, we added China.
Oh, so you're saying he's not going to win 5 races? 6. You're saying he's not going to win 6 or more races, which essentially means, historically, it means there's either a penalty involved or the car doesn't finish the race. Because if he's in the Red Bull and it finishes, he's going to fucking win.
Yeah. I think he's too good for penalties, so that's not going to be it. Especially if he's out in front. Like, he just doesn't make those mistakes. He's going to get George Pito'd a couple times. Coda's going to be real fun because it doesn't matter where you're at.
Sure.
3 of you are spinning.
Oh, I love that track so much.
And, there's going to be some not at fault issues on the track. They're going to knock him out. Because the other thing is he gets really frustrated. So if he has 2 bad weeks, week 3 is going to be a show.
True.
And we saw that when he battled with Lewis. When he had a couple bad races and Lewis would put pressure on him in 2021, it was, a fist fight. So, 19 races, it's a lot. A lot of the talking heads, and this is something I follow really closely, are saying that if you win 19 in a season and nothing really changes, even with the rest of the field, or even if they get better, but your car stays good, you probably are going to win 19 again. I just think that with how astronomical that number is compared to when we had drivers win, 10, 12 races a season year after year in like the 80s and 90s, it just, it changes a little bit, and these drivers are really good. The McLarens are going to be fast come summer break.
Here's the thing. Already this season, now on race day, it hasn't panned out this way. Like in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, it did not pan out that whatever pace we saw from the other cars led to a closer race because Max just dominated those still.
Yeah.
But those cars are keeping pace in quali and in practice.
Yeah, we're not seeing the gaps from first to second and first to fourth.
If Red Bull continues to have issues with Christian Horner, underlying whatever, but taking him focus away from the team, if they continue to have reliability issues, that causes bad decisions, right? Some of Ferrari's problem back in 2022 and 2021, when they just could not do anything right, was if you start adding in the stress to decision making of, oh shit, we've had this problem with the car and that problem with the car and this other issue and that issue, that all gets factored into the decision making of when to pit, who to pit.
Yeah.
Trying to double stack, whatever they do, that ended up screwing over Charles Leclerc more than often, let's be real. That hasn't happened at Red Bull the last 2 years when they've been dominant. Now you're starting to see it creep in, and you're starting to see the off-track stuff. maybe there's just the slightest little chink in the armor that is Red Bull.
Yeah.
And you've got McLaren and Ferrari right there ready to pounce. Which again, we didn't have last year. Like if this happened last year early on, Red Bull would have figured it out and been fine because that car was just so much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
This year, it just feels. You're right. I'll give you. Yeah. I'll give you that. It feels like the gap has lessened enough to where there's not really the room for error that they had.
Yeah, and they could mess up. They could have issues last year. And you drop one to Carlos.
I mean, shit, you watch what Kick Sauber's been doing the last couple races with their 50.5-second pit stops. Max could have had one of those a race last year and still won half of them.
Yep. I mean, he started in 14th on the grid, won the race.
Halfway through, he was already in first.
Yep. It took like 15, 20 laps.
It's the dumbest shit.
So and you mentioned it earlier in how we are going to watch baseball this year, but there's a lot going on outside of first place now, and it's nice because it's not behind in third and lower. It's really second place and back in the field. There's a lot going on. I think that the pair that is Oscar and Lando is going to be exciting. Oscar is going to be a champion in his career.
That's bold.
I mean, he took fourth this last race. He listened to team orders and quickly did it so that Lando could have a chance on 5-lap newer tires. I would have liked to see Lando give the place back. Then we're like, no, we're not going to do it. But it was close enough all the way to the last lap that it just makes sense. So don't really hate it. A first podium at your home race is just kind of cool.
He also got screwed by their first pit strategy.
Yeah, so I get it, but I think Oscar, he's just a good driver, and he's there for the team.
No doubt.
If he doesn't win one with McLaren, and I mean in the next 2-3 years after his extension, he might. The next team he goes and races for will be another top tier team, and he'll win one for them. He's a good driver. But it was a Ferrari 1-2. McLaren took third. It was a fun race. We started paying attention. And for everyone who is kind of a casual fan, so newer Drive to Survive Americans, I think they saw something that they needed to keep watching. I think there was a big air and of Max is going to win every single one. It's just, especially after qualifying. I think that anything can happen, and it's open wheel racing, so it's scary. Anything can happen. I mean, you hit a wall wrong, and it's a fluffy wall, and your car explodes or splits in half. Like things happen, and that's why you watch. That's why you get up at 6 a.m. to watch the race. And
that's why you watch any sport, man.
Yeah, because you don't know what's going to happen. This is less of any day anyone can win, like any given Sunday or any day that there's a baseball game. But you never know. It's not NASCAR where this season they've had 10 different winners. It's not that, and that's okay. That's not what Formula One is. And
it's not what it is, and it's not what it ever has been. No, it's not what it will be.
They're not stock cars. These are built for a team, by the team. That's it. There's nothing the same. So I'm excited for the season. I think it'll keep people invigorated. Every time Max loses, it'll keep people coming back. But I think what also people need to appreciate is Max is good.
No doubt. And
he wins in a Ferrari or a McLaren. If he hopped in those cars, I think he's that good of a driver. He beats everybody else in those cars the way they are right now. He's just so good.
You think if you put Max and Lewis in the same car, you think Max is that much better?
Time trial, because if they're on the track at the same time in the same car, they're crashing.
Yeah, no shit. That we've seen that play out.
Max and Lewis?
Let's say Max and Lewis are in Ferraris. Who's winning? That's pretty damn split to me. Like people keep I don't know what I like. I take pride in myself in being able to look at the technical aspects of a lot of sports. And like, I'm a young F1 fan, but I can look at I can look at the sport and be like, he's a better driver than him.
Yeah.
Other than the car's fast, like obviously Max is fast, right? That's pretty easy to see. But like, I can look at Oscar, like you're saying. Like I can look at that and be like, yeah, Oscar's a really good fucking driver. I can look at Lewis and be like, his car's dog shit, but he's still really fucking good at what he does.
I agree.
There's little moments that you have to catch it, but you can do that.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you talk to the casual fans that you're talking about, like if you ask them today, if you put Lewis and Max in the same car, who's winning? Almost all of them will be like, Max is going to beat him by 20 seconds.
Yeah. And I
just don't think that's true.
Mm-mm. I think that, the Lewis we're seeing right now is not who's still racing. It's not the same Lewis Hamilton that was fighting until the last race, for his 8th championship. So that's definitely a hard question. I think Max is a really good driver, and I think the way it is right now, if he was in a different car, like in the top 3 cars, he would still beat other people.
I think that's true.
And I think he still wins. Now, if he's in the same car as the best driver that is racing, who is Lewis, statistically, he, like, with a record, he is the best driver. Yeah, I think it's a toss-up, and I think it'd be a hell
the
of a
real
race.
question is, do you think the Mercedes and Red Bull in 2021 were basically equivalent? Or was the Mercedes a better car and Max was a better driver? That's like ultimately,
I think
that's the
that's
question.
what it was. I think Red Bull also had some better strategies throughout the season, because when it comes down to it, even in the 3 or 4 races where they crashed into each other, they were still neck and neck, and like they went. It came down to the last race. Like in this race format with this many races, it's hard for that to happen. Usually it's this person won 7 throughout the season, and so they get it. So yeah, I don't know. The speculation of it that keeps me going on it, especially like any sports. The speculation, like the what ifs, I love it. I'll do it all day.
Yeah, it's great,
and I think it's a way for folks to watch the races and try to understand them. But regardless of the what ifs, Max is only up in the Drivers' Championship through week 3 by 4 points, followed by Leclerc, Checo, Carlos, and Oscar Piastri in 5th. I'm just saying, man's gonna win some championships.
Pretty incredible.
So,
yeah, I mean, this is a 3-dog fight, and the dog that's left out right now for sure is Mercedes. Just what a fall from grace. But that's why we love sports, man. You can have a dynasty last forever. Patriots, for example, like for football fans out there that want to, but where are the Patriots right now? Drafting 3rd in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, Mercedes has the backing of Mercedes, the car company. They're not in the top 3. The energy drink company is. The unique, exotic car companies whose racing is in their culture, who definitely sell fewer units than Mercedes, they're 2 and 3. So you don't know what's going to happen.
It's fun.
It is fun. I think my other kind of takeaway is Logan got screwed and Albon didn't get any points.
Boned.
And I get why they did it, but since Albon didn't finish in at least 10th, it wasn't worth shit.
Nope.
Wasn't worth
Agreed.
shit. Happy birthday, Logan. We gave your present to Alex.
For those who don't follow, Alex Albon crashed in, was it quali or practice?
Practice.
It was
FP2.
practice. Williams only brought 1 chassis. They didn't bring any spare chassis to the race. So they gave Logan's car to Alex.
Yeah, in qualifying, Logan's number was still on the car.
That's so fucked.
Or an FP3.
That is so fucked.
Yeah, on his birthday.
Oh, that's jacked up. All right, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Before we leave the F1 ranks, of the drivers in the lineup today,
Mm-hmm.
how many will not be on the grid next year, and which ones?
Huh. Oof.
Actually, I'm going to change that. I don't want you to predict because this is all politics at the end of the day. How many shouldn't be on the grid? Which drivers that are on the grid should not have a seat in F1 in your estimation? I have my list,
I'm
but I want to hear
being
yours.
objective, taking my feelings out of it.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I don't like him, but he'll be in anyways until 2026. So I think 4 should not be on the grid next year.
Okay, I'm
I
going to
think
say 5.
there are better options. Do you want to hear my 4?
I do.
All right, so we're gonna start with the easy ones. Both Alpines, get them out.
Really?
Yeah, both of
I
them.
agree with Esteban.
I think. Yeah, I don't like. Pierre.
Okay. All right.
So that's who.
That's interesting to me.
The one of the 4 is not who you think it is. Lance Stroll has a seat. Number
Cameron.
3 is Logan.
Cameron.
Number 4, it hurts me to my core, but it's Danny Rick.
Okay, I agree with those. I agree with those two. Why in God's green earth does Lance Stroll deserve a seat?
Because he's still like, we cannot like him. He's a good driver. Like he's a
No,
good
he's not.
he's a good midfield driver.
I respectfully
He is better than the
disagree with
4
you.
that I mentioned. If you want me to name 5, sure,
That's
Lance
fine.
Stroll.
I didn't say 4. I said name who should not have a seat. Sure, if I said top 4, I agree with
So
you.
basically, like the 4 are people I could replace. I don't know a 5th. Like I don't know of a 5th person in F2 that I could bring in.
Okay.
So, like,
okay.
to give up, like, a seat.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know enough about the junior ranks
Yeah.
to understand what's coming. I can tell you what I saw from Ollie Bierman, right? So I can just assume that Ollie Bierman is not the best second option, but he's up there.
Ollie's gonna should have a grid spot next year, and Liam Lawson should have a
my
grid
metric.
spot.
Ollie doesn't have a seat. He should have a seat. If you're worse than Ollie, you shouldn't have a seat. That is kind of nonsensical because there's probably not enough. I don't know how many drivers out there are good enough to beat these guys, but if I'm using Ollie Bierman as the metric, right?
Yeah.
And for those not following, Oliver Bierman is the reserve driver for Ferrari who drove in Saudi Arabia when Carlos Sainz had an emergency appendectomy.
The first rookie debut for Ferrari in 50 years.
And he took 7th. Okay,
Yep.
So great race. He was solid. I would take Ollie over Lance, Yuki. Ooh, those two are tough. I'm going to not say them. Zhou Guan Yu, Danny Rick, Esteban Ocon, and Logan. Those are the 6.
I agree.
So if that's the metric, like if I'm using third driver for Ferrari,
That's the bar.
that's the bar, then those 6 are the ones that would go.
I agree. But Yuki's not going to be gone until 2026.
And, but again, I don't know
But-
if there's 5 more, right? I
Yeah.
know what's his name,
Liam Lawson
Liam
should
Lawson.
absolutely be at AlphaTauri next
He
year.
should. He 1,000,000,000% needs to be in a car. There's who's the Mercedes junior driver?
We'll mix their backup.
No, but there's a junior guy. He's super young. He's like
Uh,
18. There were rumors about replacing Lewis with this guy already, and
Yeah.
he's like a freaking toddler, it seems like. But I those are the 6 that I look at on any given weekend. I'm like, why am I watching you still? Why are like, okay, I know why Joe's in a car, right? I know why Yuki's in a car. And again, this is why and I know why Lance is in a car, right? And I know why Logan's in a car. I know why all of those guys are in cars. And most of it, not all of it, most of it doesn't have to do with their driving.
Nope.
And that's where I'm going to leave that
That's where the money comes from, baby.
before I start saying shit that gets me in trouble.
Yep. Yep. 2026 is gonna be a hell of a year. Next year's gonna be interesting. Last year I think was the first year that there was no changes on the grid, or this year like no changes happening in the off season, for the first time since like the 60s that we had the same driver lineup. So yeah, I don't know. It was an unprecedented year for drivers. A lot of contracts are ending next year because most F1 teams operated on a 2-year contract at most, unless you're a Lewis, a Max. If you're making less than $2 million a year, you're getting paid 1 year at a time.
Why? Why does F1 not have any sort of regulations like every other sport in the world about tampering and contract negotiations in the middle of a season?
I don't know. They literally have a thing called silly season for a couple of weeks in the summer.
And now apparently silly season is before the season even starts.
Yeah, that was surprising. Couldn't even let Mercedes get through the first half, through the first 12 races before they lost their driver for the next year. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they just now instituted a cost cap.
I mean, there's no reason. Like, I know they have a short-ish off season. It's not that short.
It's 9 weeks.
That's short. Okay, that's shorter than most major sports. Sure, but it's a race. Like, it's a race car. It's not like you have to move cities and stuff. You kind of do. Anyway.
They're all based in Europe.
There's no reason that you shouldn't. I mean, you can do it the minute the last race ends, but there's no reason that you should just have a free agency starts on whatever day, December 6th this year.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense, but it would be something that is only happening in American sports, so they'll never do it. And all these guys
they do that in soccer. Like,
all these guys live in Monaco anyways, so they really don't care about what happens to them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. The drama's fun.
It really is.
So I guess just keep it up because it's fun for me.
Yeah.
I was going to dive into March Madness because it's actually been, I was worried about this tournament, to be honest with you, but it's been pretty spectacular. It helps that our team went on a run here in March, which is always fun.
Yeah, it helps that our team actually win. That was exciting. Didn't know we could do that.
We sit here today and everybody's still picking UConn, but this is as up in the air as I remember it. So this March Madness has been great. I don't have a whole lot to add. I'm not a big basketball fan. I watch because March Madness is the single greatest sporting event in the U.S. But anyway, I don't have a lot to add there.
Yeah, I mean, it has the first round was interesting. Like, that was fun. Loved that. The team I picked to win still alive. Got Iowa State.
Always
baby.
Fun.
Iowa State.
That's bold.
And they made it to Thursday, so they just got to play Illinois.
Fair enough.
But I mean, you look at the teams that are in there, and you've got, 6-on-2 with Clemson, Arizona, 5-on-1 San Diego State against UConn, Alabama, North Carolina 4-on-1, and then Illinois, Iowa State 3-2.
The teams you expect.
The teams you expect. You know,
For the most part.
It's exciting that this wasn't a right in the ones to the Final Four again. I always love those seasons because it means something happened.
Yep.
And you had fun little teams that turned out being Cinderellas. Sorry, Golick.
You could still
Oakland
ride the
was a
ones.
Cinderella.
All the ones are still in it, but
Yeah.
anyway, it's been fun, and it will continue to be fun. But basketball is secondary on this show, as Chris can attest.
Well, if he wanted to talk about it, he should show up.
It's true. We didn't invite him this week, so that's kind of our bad.
Oh,
but
shit. Sorry, Chris.
It was our show.
Yeah.
We do what we want. You have your own professional stuff to do.
You do it for a job. we really just didn't think you'd want to do it for fun.
We asked Chris in the group chat. I was like, Chris, basketball is the most infuriating sport ever. How do you do this? I don't know if I should out him. Should I out him? I'm not going to out him.
Don't out him.
He just said it's my job, basically. That was the gist of what he said.
Yeah, you get paid to do it.
When you get paid to do it, it's not that hard.
Yep. And if you have some sort of passion with it, he does like basketball.
He loves the Blazers.
And he loves the Blazers. So,
but it's easy to ignore the shit that makes it hard to watch sometimes.
When you get paid and it's your team that you're working for. So, it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right. Since this is my show and you're the producer, but you're a guest host this week, you're going to get the buzzer beater.
Oh, God. You're going to make me do buzzer beater and work the music. And, okay.
Yeah, see, I'm putting you to the test. Eli leaves, this is what happens.
What is my buzzer beater going to be?
You got some time to figure it out because I have to thank the listener and all this stuff.
Sorry.
Listener, viewer, thank you for tuning in. We love you guys as always. We know we haven't been around much. Our view count was low today. That's fine. We didn't tell you till like an hour before we recorded. That's how it goes on this show because we don't like social media. Speaking of social media, follow us, like us, all that stuff, because maybe someday we will figure our shit out. Zeta June, thank you for letting us use your music as our outro. Eli, fuck you for being on vacation. Cameron, thank you for being the man behind the glass, and today being my co-host. Until next time, Cameron, please take us away.
Listener, thanks for stopping by. Biggest takeaway, Max ain't gonna win them all, baby.
Deuces.